Hey folks, how you doing? This is the Wayne S. Pierce Show podcast. How are you? It's the 12th of June, 2015. Lots of things going on. I want to give a heads up. I'll explain a little bit later, probably bottom of the hour. But I've said it before, I've said it again, and I really didn't go into detail as to the whole issue of why. But I really don't think that's really necessary, considering that from my point of view, from my perspective, everybody has their own perspective of something. Everybody has their own personal view of something. And I understand that. I get that. It's right there. I know it. It's right there. Now, the question is, who's right and who's wrong? I say it all the time. Nobody's completely right. Nobody's completely wrong. That's okay by me. I'm fine. Why? Because the information that we all gather is for ourselves. Now we disseminate that information and possibly in a way decimate it, but it is in our way of interpreting that information as we, tell other people about it and all that. It's in the way that we interpret that causes us, to be seen as a conspiracy theorist or wrong or whatever it is by other people. Now, here's a little key piece of information. Here's a little something a lot of people don't understand. Okay? When you tell somebody something, and if they don't know, you're lost. You're never going to convince them. Or if they think it's something else, you're never going to convince them of anything at all, ever, in I don't know how many years, but you're never going to convince them of anything. Okay, you can't convince somebody that driving the speed limit is crucial to your survival. You're never going to get people to understand that, anything other than what their minds are already made up to understand. Okay? They can look at something and say, hey, this is what I see, this is what I know, this is what I have. You cannot come along and convince them otherwise. It's not going to work. Okay? And I understand that. So, with that in mind, I want to say this. Anybody that doesn't want to see the things that I see, take the information I have, research it, look at it, whatever, and if you want to continue, if these people, these specific people I'm thinking of, and I'll tell you who they are later, or I'll tell you about them later at the bottom of the hour, if they want to continue to look at me and tell everybody else, oh, you don't want to talk to him because he's right about everything and he's going to get defensive if you disagree with him. I'm going to fill you in on a little something in the bottom of the hour segment. So, stick around. I got a lot to talk about. So, in the meantime, if you have anything that you want to share with me, anything you want to talk about, anything you want to, give me, or, you can send it to my email address. That's AmericanLibertyRadio@USA.com. AmericanLibertyRadio@USA.com. Oh, and by the way, you can go to the website now, AmericanLibertyRadio.com. How's that? There you go. Told you things were changing. AmericanLibertyRadio.com. Check it out. And, let me know what you think, and we'll go from there. And at the bottom of the hour, I'll fill you in on a few things. All right? Hey, in the meantime, I'll be back in just a little bit, and we'll get into some news, some new stuff coming up. So anyway, I will talk to you in a bit. Have fun, sit back, relax, and enjoy. I'll be right back right after this. When the coffee is done, sit down and have a cup and listen to the best independent music station on the web. Radio Rock 92.6 The Blitz. Tom Slick delivers all the independent hits and talks about new music from all of your favorite artists. Listen to Tom Slick on The Morning Brew, 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 noon Eastern, only on Radio Rock 92.6 The Blitz. For more information, go to radiorocktheblitz.blogspot.com.
You are being lied to. All of the state-run media propaganda is deceiving you. The script has been written and the biological androids reading those teleprompters are not telling you everything. From Fast and Furious to Jade Helm 15, the ideological slaves churn out misinformation and the general public, who are not aware enough to understand they are being lied to, eat it up. The mainstream media demonizes those that know the truth, that are said to be conspiracy theorists. They are pushing the narrative of globalization and supporting the principles of a new world order. If the voting populace of the United States of America knew exactly what was happening to them, they would band together to stop the total authoritarian takeover of their country. It is now time for everyone to see what is happening and stand up and defend themselves. It is time for all of the people to accept that they have been living a lie, they have been living a delusion, that their country, their homes, and their property will be taken from them if they do not stand and defend their liberties and freedoms.
Hey folks, welcome to the Wayne S. Beer Show podcast right here for the 12th of June, 2015. How are you? You good? Yeah. Hey. Got a lot of stuff going on. Let's go take a look. Go to the American Liberty Radio Network Facebook page. American Liberty Radio Network Facebook page. I know that's a lot to remember, but oh my God. Government puts kids in foster care because they were playing outside alone. Oh, really? How are your children, by the way? Your daily dose of government gone wild today comes from Florida, where a nosy neighbor decided to call the cops because an 11-year-old boy was playing outside of his home while waiting for his parents to get home. The result? The parents were arrested and both of their children were placed in state care. This is from Reason Magazine, the second to the far left liberal magazine, second to The Hill. Okay. Quote, the boy didn't have a key, so he played basketball in the yard. He was alone for 90 minutes. A neighbor called the cops, and when the parents arrived, having been delayed by traffic and rain, they were arrested for negligence. They were put in handcuffs, strip searched, fingerprinted, and held overnight in jail. It would be a month before their sons, the 11-year-old and the 4-year-old brother, were allowed home again. So that's a good sign. Only after the eldest spoke up and begged the judge to give him back to his parents did the situation improve, unquote. So his parents were delayed getting home and the child played in his own yard while waiting. Heaven forbid children play unsupervised. Obviously, the solution to this quote-unquote problem was to call the cops, arrest the parents, and remove the children from the home and put them in state care where who knows what kind of danger they would have actually been in. Just a few questions for the nosy neighbor. 1. Did you really think the child was in danger? If so, why didn't you just keep an eye on the child and make sure nothing happened? Number 2, if you thought he was in danger because he had no access to water, why didn't you ask the child if he needed water or anything? And for the cop and the judge and the CPS and the prosecutor, number 1, how is taking a child out of their home and arresting his parents in the child's best interest? Without government, who will save the children? See, even this far-left liberal rag, the Reason, or it says Reason magazine, even that one had literally saw the whole story. I'm beginning to believe that you far-left liberal fascists are now waking up to your whole, to the position that you have, knowing full well it's a bunch of BS. Okay? I'm just putting it out there. At the bottom of the hour, I'll explain to you some thoughts about how you can't change people's minds and what the solution I have for me is and all that. So at the bottom of the hour, I'll do that. By the way, this is from campaignforliberty.org. This is on their national blog. It's right there on the American Liberty Radio Network Facebook page. Related article, foster care crisis. Thousands of abused and neglected kids need a home. So there you go. There's one positive note there. From personalliberty.com, the American system is a con and a fraud. What? What? You mean our founding fathers were... they didn't have it right? What? What? The author of this article, Bob Livingston, posted this today. Says, I have been writing for years. There are two parties in America. The government party and the people. Well, it seems some people are finally awakening to that fact. The greedy psychopaths inhabiting the district of criminals are feeling as emboldened these days. They no longer care who knows. They're so, quote-unquote, bipartisan now, they've even parroting one another. On Wednesday, during a congressional hearing discussing the secrecy behind the Obama trade deal that will destroy the last vestige of American sovereignty and create a North American Union controlled completely by the oligarchs, Chief Obama trade cheerleader and Chamber of Commerce lackey Paul Ryan told Americans, in so many words, we have to pass the Obamacare bill to see what's in it. I wonder who else said that. That is, of course, reminiscent of a line made famous by former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi back in 2009. Pelosi quotes referred to the Obamacare bill, deceptively named the Affordable Care Act, when she said, quote, we have to pass the bill so that you can find out what's in it, unquote. We have since, quote unquote, found out, and the only political class the medical industrial complex and society's leeches are pleased with it. I'm going to stop right there and say this. First of all, Obama trade is going to kill America. Period. End of sentence, done. I don't give a crap what you people say out there. Obama trade is going to kill America. The groundwork was laid by Clinton, NAFTA, GATT. Remember that? Clinton, when he signed NAFTA and GATT. And what he did essentially, President Clinton sent all of our jobs overseas. Period. Done. Then he allowed or continued to allow foreign investors to take parts of America for themselves, parts of the U.S. for themselves, for their businesses. Then they wouldn't hire any of the American people that were, unemployed from the businesses leaving the country. Some were hired, some were not, some of this, whatever. But do you remember? Now, here's a good, a good sign. Remember all that? And remember how the entrepreneurship of people increased dramatically because people were starting their own businesses? That's a good sign. But now, under this regime, thank you, George Bush and Bill Clinton, for propping this president up as well, we are now at the point of collapse. Because now it's overregulated. All of the things that people want to do to start their own businesses, except in a few states, and there's only a handful of states left that allow people to do what they need to do to start their own businesses at a very decreased cost and expense to them. The overregulation has caused people to not only not be able to start businesses, but sustain those businesses. Okay? With the TPP and Obama trade coming out, I think they're one and the same and interchangeable, it's going to destroy America. Get over it. It's going to destroy the United States and turn us into a third world nation. Why is it that you can look at RT, you can look at other foreign press, they tell you the truth about the United States, and they tell you that it is a police state? Guess what? They're right. Period. Done. At the bottom of the hour, I will call a few people out. Yes, I didn't want to name names, but I ain't holding back. Let me continue on here. From the article, The American System is a Con and a Fraud by Bob Livingston over at personalliberty.com. Let me continue. The only difference between Obamacare and Obama trade is that we saw firsthand who was behind Obamacare and knew that what their agenda was. The outcome was predictable and predicted. The Obama trade, touted as free trade. What part of free costs us any money, folks? Touted as free trade, the deal is so secretive that even Congress weasels have to take an oath of secrecy to view the document, and even then some cannot. It's locked away in a secret room. What we know about it at all is a credit to the hackers at WikiLeaks. The elected class and their operatives care not for anyone but themselves. Any pretense of advocating and legislating on the people's behalf is either out-and-out con or a divide-and-conquer strategy designed to grow their power and steal more liberty. Their quote-unquote principles involve growing government, lining their pockets, and enriching their corporatist masters. That would be the Bilderberg Group and all the corporations they own. They will sell out their former friends and constituents and even their mothers in a heartbeat. Former presidential spokespuppets Robert Gibbs has just joined that quote-unquote evil, quote-unquote non-living wage paying corporate behemoth McDonald's as a global communications officer. This is the same Gibbs who once said, quote, "I think minimum wage will be the centerpiece of the State of Union. I think it should be the centerpiece of the State of the Union, and it should be very focused on that because, as you said, Republicans in the rest of the country are for it," unquote. I wonder if McDonald's is paying Gibbs a living wage, whatever that is. He joins another former spokespuppet, Jay Carney, and former Barack Obama political operative David Plouffe in the quote-unquote evil corporate world. Carney is now VP of a worldwide corporate affairs for Amazon. Plouffe is a senior vice president at Uber. And despite Obama's having allegedly signed an order that, quote-unquote, closes the revolving door, that allows government officials to move to and from private sector jobs in ways that give that sector undue influence over government, unquote. When he took office, Obama operatives Anita Dunn and Bill Burton moved from their White House offices into the new plush digs at the lobbying firm SKD Knickerbocker, which has worked to oppose several items on Obama's stated agenda. The revolving door for Obama operatives between the White House and the corporate world has shaken up one prominent leftist so much it's caused her to rethink what it means to be a Democrat. In a series of tweets, San Francisco reporter Julia Carey Wong said, quote, "It's hard to think of a political identity with, quote-unquote, less actual meaning than being a Democrat these days. As a proud Democrat, Gibbs will devote his time to fighting wage increases, harming the environment, and preying on poor communities. His brother-in-arms, Plouffe, will focus on the core Democratic values of deregulation and obliviating the national, or obviating the National Labor Relations Act," unquote. Republican voters are well versed in having the party's elite slap them around, and the GOP's revolving door between government and K Street has a long and storied history. But like a battered spouse, Republican voters always take them back. After all, what's a voter to do? That's a question that inevitably comes to every article pointing out there is no difference between the parties. The answer, though apparently unacceptable to the masses, is simple. Don't vote. It only gives legitimacy to the process and allows them to keep up the charade another 4 years. If anyone sits out the election, the elites can no longer run the con that we have a representative government. Okay? That's on American Liberty Radio Network as well, on Facebook. Went over the break a little bit, so take a little break. Not going to be long. But coming up in the next segment, I'm going to get into a lot of other stuff. So I'll be back right after this. Don't go away. AmericanLibertyRadio.com, American Liberty Radio at USA.com. The reality underneath the honesty. LiveTruthRadio.com. This is the American Liberty Radio Network. Go to AmericanLibertyRadio.com and email us at AmericanLibertyRadio@USA.com. Hey, welcome back, folks. This is the Wayne S. Pierce Show podcast for the 12th of June, 2015. How are you? You doing good? Huh? Are you happening? Are you there? Did you look at yourself in the mirror this morning? Is that a good sign? You wake up, you put your feet on the ground, and you're like, my goodness, I'm here. You know, hey, that's always a good sign, isn't it? Yeah, really. A little coffee for me. Hey, I want to give a big old, huge, fantastic virtual high five and a shout out to Mr. Tom Slick over at Radio Rock 92.6 The Blitz. Radio Rock 92.6 The Blitz on Spreaker.com. Go check him out. Also, if you want to listen to the show and read his blogs and stuff like that, you can check that out at radiorocktheblitz.blogspot.com. Also, give a big shout out to Mr. Nick Tucker over at Distorted Reality with Nick Tucker on Facebook. Go tell him I sent you. And then there's Brian Lang over at LiveTruthRadio.com. Go check him out as well. Also, Robert Bruce at wakingupthemasses.com and truthfrequencyradio.com. And, those are a bunch of people that are really cool. Go check them out. Anyway, let me get into this, and I'll probably get into this into the next segment as well. But you cannot convince people of anything other than, well, you can't convince people of anything. Their minds are so made up that they will, on one hand, they'll listen to other people who cater to their way of thinking, or they're trying to figure stuff out, but something that sounds so plausible but is totally ridiculous, they'll believe it. On the other hand, they'll look at that ridiculousness of what that person is saying and probably figure out what's going on themselves. Now you have the middle ground. You have those people that were once very much aware of what's going on, specifically with what's happening in the world today, knowing that 9/11 was an inside job, knowing that all of these fakes and frauds and hoaxes are out there, and all these criminal puppets in Washington, D.C. are the ones manipulating us into believing everything that they say and do and tell us that, they'll be pissing on us and telling us it's raining. That kind of thing. So you have those middle ground people that think, hey, everything's fine, and everything that, what I thought before was wrong and blah, blah, blah. I mean, you have these people. Can you say skull plugged? Because obviously they were, by those who kept trying to manipulate their minds into, oh, you don't want to listen to those people over there, or you don't want to listen to these people over here. You just keep your eyes on this. Have you ever watched a magician? I have, up close and personal. And believe me, even that close, I still couldn't figure out how it was done. Okay? I had a magician right in, like 2 feet away from me. I still couldn't figure it out. Okay? But knowing the manipulation of a magician, knowing what he taught me, knowing what he showed me, I can tell you right now, this is exactly what has happened to these people that were once aware and awake, or say they're aware and awake. Okay? So, I've learned a great deal from that whole process of watching these people who were once very much aware, understanding what's going on behind the scenes, and then listening to them later, and I'm like, okay, who slammed the door in their face? Who manipulated them in such a way to where they're now retracting everything they said before? And it's not so much who, it's why are they not seeing the manipulation? This is, I don't care who did it. Why aren't they not seeing the manipulation? I don't get it. I don't understand it. I haven't really, I just don't get it. After the bottom of the hour break, I'll tell you what I'm talking about. But in general, it's about people who literally have understood who's behind the curtain, pushing the buttons and pulling the handles, and 6 months later, a year later, a couple of years later, they're like, oh no, that's not how it was. They come up with some excuse, as to why they believe what they believe now, which is really, to me, a cop-out. Have you ever watched a horror movie and then covered your eyes at what you think is the most scariest part? This is basically what they've done. They see the truth for what it is, and as scary and as really ugly as it is, they shut their eyes and they walk away. I don't want to see it anymore. So let me go to break. I'll be right back. Don't go away. AmericanLibertyRadio.com is the website. AmericanLibertyRadio.com. And you can email us at AmericanLibertyRadio at USA.com. American Liberty Radio at USA.com. Hey, stick around, folks. I'll be right back. Get prepared. Get your emergency food supply today. Go to ALR Network Survival Store at AmericanLibertyRadio.com and click on ALR Survival Store. Sharing the truth, one fact at a time, without all the BS. This is the American Liberty Radio Network.
You are being lied to. All of the state-run media propaganda is deceiving you. The script has been written and the biological androids reading those teleprompters are not telling you everything. From Fast and Furious to Jade Helm 15, the ideological slaves churn out misinformation and the general public, who are not aware enough to understand they are being lied to, eat it up. The mainstream media demonizes those that know the truth, that are said to be conspiracy theorists. They are pushing the narrative of globalization and supporting the principles of a new world order. If the voting populace of the United States of America knew exactly what was happening to them, they would band together to stop the total authoritarian takeover of their country. It is now time for everyone to see what is happening and stand up and defend themselves. It is time for all of the people to accept that they have been living a lie, they have been living a delusion, that their country, their homes, and their property will be taken from them if they do not stand and defend their liberties and freedoms.
Welcome back, folks. This is the Wayne S. Pierce Show podcast. And, well, you know, I got to tell you, I've known people who were very much aware and awake of what's going on behind the curtain, who's pushing the buttons and pulling the handles, but I think a few people have fallen off the freedom train, the truth train. They've gotten off and distracted, and other people have told them, oh, don't believe those conspiracy theorists. Well, it's not. There are conspiracies, yes, but it's not a theory. It's a fact. The only people that are telling you that it's a theory are the people that don't want to accept the truth and the facts. Okay. I mean, I can go down the list. We can talk about that. We can go down the list from the Roman Empire to today, 2015. It's false flag events. We can go down the list. But the fact of the matter is that people like, and I'm going to call them out, people like Brian Keller who tell me that, they mock me, him and others that I've heard, I don't have time to go through the whole list of people, but recently Brian Keller has really bashed me in this way, that he says, as others have said before him, oh, you don't want to talk to Wayne because he thinks he's right all the time. When in fact, I tell you and all my listeners that if I'm wrong about something, okay, I'm fine with that. I may have overlooked something. I'll go back and check it out. I'm not wrong. And I'm not right either. I may have overlooked something. Why do you think I ask you folks to send me information? Because I may have overlooked something. If I'm wrong, I will be the first in line to admit it. So people like Brian Keller, whose minds have been twisted by certain other people, I don't know who, I don't have specifics, but I can tell you that in the grand scheme of things, people like him and people that have come before him and are going to come after him have this one mindset, and that is they get so far into the truth and they see right there, they pull that curtain open and they see who's back there and they see who's manipulating everything. Then they close the curtain and walk away going, I don't want to see anymore. It's too overwhelming. I don't want to see anymore. You know? He's not the only one. And I can tell you right now, I can tell you from personal interacting with others and having a personal relationship with these people in my past, I can tell you those people who manipulate the situation and tell people like Brian and others who were once aware and awake and seeing the truth for what it is, who's pushing the buttons and pulling the handles. These people are Christian and claim to be Christian and claim to be tolerant and claim to, be forgiving. They're not. Not all Christians are bad. Not all Muslims are bad. Not all Jewish people are bad. Not all Catholics are bad. But the ones that are so hardcore that they don't want to do anything other than stay in their rut. I don't want to get out. I don't want to go to the movies. I don't want to see any truth. I don't want to see any facts. I know that what the Bible tells me, and that's it. Well, guess what, Mr. and Mrs. Christian? And I'm not referring to Mutiny on the Bounty either. You people are the most intolerant people on the face of this planet. I'm beginning to believe that you don't have the balls to stand up to anything or accept anything that is outside your little cookie cutter world of delusion. Why don't you just admit it? You're scared as hell and you have no backbone, and all you want to do is create this feeling of utopia. Yeah, that light at the end of the tunnel is a train, and it's going to run your ass over if you don't accept the fact that it's there. You understand me? Now, Brian Keller, there are other things that he says that are right on and truthful and factual, but it's a little bit of it, not the whole thing. He's been ostracized and banned and blacklisted from Shake and Wake Radio because he read something about Christians and conspiracy theories. It's on American Liberty Radio Network, on Facebook. And I got to tell you, if you're going to believe only one side and not look 180 degrees, 360 degrees, if you're not going to look in, out, up, down, all around and see what it is and put the puzzle pieces together, you got a massive problem. Massive problem. If you think you're so arrogant to think that you're the only one that's right, you got a huge egomaniacal problem on your hands. We already have someone like that in the White House. Do we want any more people like that? I doubt it. So on and on and on we go, down the rabbit hole, if you will. But the truth is there. Stop thinking that you have the right answers. I don't, and I tell you straight up, hey, if I don't know, I don't know. And if I'm wrong, I'll be the first in line to admit it. Because I may have overlooked something. Do you know why? Because I may be wrong about a few things. Why? Because I don't know everything. Okay? So to people like Brian Keller and others, You better get your heads out of your asses and start looking around and looking at who's just rip that veil apart, rip that curtain apart, and look at who's pushing the buttons and pulling the handles. And if the truth and the facts overwhelm you too much, I think you're in the wrong movement. I'm just saying and putting it out there. That's all. If you have an opinion about that, please let me know. American Liberty Radio Network on Facebook. Let me know. Okay? Please. Or email me at AmericanLibertyRadio@USA.com. AmericanLibertyRadio@USA.com. Hey, I'm going to go to break. Jeez, I'm going to calm down. All right. All right. Talk to you in a bit. AmericanLibertyRadio.com. AmericanLibertyRadio@USA.com. When the coffee is done, sit down and have a cup and listen to the best independent music station on the web. Radio Rock 92.6 The Blitz. Tom Slick delivers all the independent hits and talks about new music from all of your favorite artists. Listen to Tom Slick on The Morning Brew, 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 noon Eastern. Only on Radio Rock 92.6 The Blitz. For more information, go to radiorocktheblitz.blogspot.com. The reality underneath the honesty. LiveTruthRadio.com. Are you a voice actor? Would you like to perform on radio plays? Send your audition clips to Eastland Radio Theater. Scripts are available. Send your information to Eastland Radio Theater at USA.com. Hey folks, welcome back. Last segment of the day, of the show, of the podcast. Hey, what do you know, man? What do you know? It's Friday. Well, for some it's Saturday already, so I hope you had a great Friday. Oh my God. So many things are going on. So many things are happening. Such as, let me go here because I want to finish up with this. I want to go here as soon as this stupid page wants to load. There we go. It's working. American Liberty Radio Network on Facebook. There's a video. Leaked TPP text reveals increased corporate control over public health. That's from Democracy Now! They're shouting, well, not from Democracy Now! They're shouting Democracy Now! Apparently. WikiLeaks has published another portion of the text of the secret Trans-Pacific Partnership trade deal. The text reveals that the TPP would give major pharmaceutical companies more power over public access to medicine, weaken public health care programs, and prevent Congress from passing reforms to lower drug costs. Democracy Now!, that's the program, speaks with Peter Maybarduck, of Public Citizen, and John Sifton of Human Rights Watch about their concerns over the text. So it's a video you got to watch, folks. So check it out, if you would, please. Thank you very much. Also, exclusive. The Bilderberg meeting group meeting is still going on in Austria today. And probably through the weekend. Bilderberg deploys high-tech jamming to shut down communications because they don't want people to know what's going on. Okay? They don't. Oh, get this, folks, from SHTF. You know what that means, right? HSTFplan.com. Wi-Fi device can see through walls. Quote, track a human by using body as an antenna array. Unquote. Oh, isn't that lovely? And again, from asheepnomore.net, new Wi-Fi tracking system counts people, even without a connected device. Okay? You follow that so far, folks? WesternJournalism.com exposed Obama's massive plan to transform America's neighborhoods, maybe yours. There's a video you have to see, folks. Oh, and by the way, the Bilderberg Group meeting this weekend started yesterday, actually. People have been there for over a week since the G7, just in a country over there. Anyway, John Dyer writes for asheepnomore.net and says, Bilderberg 2015, implementation of the artificial intelligence grid. Wow, isn't that lovely, folks? We have people that care about you so much they want to track you and install a surveillance grid to find out where you're at so they can keep you safe. Sarcasm aside, the plan to integrate nations into continental trading blocs is not a new idea. In Dr. Carol Quigley's Tragedy and Hope, reference is made to the plan of the Third Reich to create global trade blocs, which itself is an older British Royal Society plan. Go look it up, British Royal Society. Check it out, folks. Daniel Estulin, in his The Bilderberg Group and Shadow Masters, provides detailed investigations into both Bilderberg and its many-headed Hydra organization, exemplified in Captain America II Winter Soldier, founded by Prince Bernhard of the Netherlands, as well as numerous other Atlantists elites like David Rockefeller, Paul Van Zeeland, and numerous other media barons, corporate heads, bankers, and countless other people better than us. Bilderberg operation under the guise of free market capitalism represents instead the complete culmination of banking corporate world control. Presented as yet another debate forum, the Bilderberg secret meetings instead have been revealed in numerous cases to have driven global policy. The most shining example is the 1955 Bilderberg meetings plan for the creation of the quote-unquote European Common Market and quote-unquote the European Union unity shown below, which is a picture there in the article. It is important to recall that the European Common Market came into play some 3 years later in 1958, while the European Union itself was supposedly founded in 1993. With this in mind, we can see how the TTIP is simply a further extension of the same strategy of economic integration from the EU to NAFTA. I spoke about NAFTA a few minutes ago, folks. In other words, what the bankers planned in secret in 1955 was made public in 1993, having been implemented in gradual, incremental stages. They're not just going to pop it on you and open the door and say, here, welcome this. Hey, there you go. Boom, there you go. No, they plan it, strategize it, say incrementally over time, we're going to introduce this, and boom, by the time that the people can rebel, we've got them shut down. Continuing, indeed, it was the post-World War II era that created all of these entities, the UN, Bretton Woods, and the IMF, and the World Bank, etc. All of these entities, including Bilderberg, are part of the same power structure that coordinate the last century's wars for the sole purpose of a world government, all of which is spelled out in Quigley's CFR archived-based tome, Tragedy and Hope. Thus, while the populations still think their national governments are at war with other nation states and market economies are driving economic surplus, the reality is that most nation states are subsidiaries of the Atlantists' power bloc, whose sights are set on dismantling on the dismantling of Russia, as Estulin, Shadow Masters details. Like last year's Bilderberg meeting, the whispers are this year will discuss. The whisperers are, let me restate this, okay? Like last year's Bilderberg meeting, the whispers are this year will discuss the implementation and rollout of artificial intelligence. 2015 has seen a tremendous push for the acceptance of automation, from robots in the workplace to driverless cars to implantable microchips. Transhumanism is now a buzzword, and we in the alternative media community have been vindicated countless times in calling attention to the unified agenda of selling the masses on the acceptance of the new religious ideology. Jay's analysis has highlighted the takeover plan from older Pentagon documents, as well as its selling point in countless Hollywood blockbusters. And here, there's a couple of videos in the article, folks. This year, famous former DARPA head turned Google exec Regina Dugan will be speaking, vindicating Jay's analysis, identifying Dugan as a key player to watch back in 2012. Remember? Eric Schmidt stepped down and Regina Dugan took over? In 2013, Dugan gave a talk telling the audience the future of the microchip will be an ingestible form, as well as tattooed RFID tracking. Dugan's tech talks and lectures detailed the technological side of the pyramid's plan for rolling out the smart drones, and when read in convert with IBM CEO Jeannie Rometty's lectures on smart cities and pre-crime, we can see the unified plan of the technocrats. In other words, folks, put the puzzle pieces together and you see the whole picture. Detailing hundreds of similar examples, what is most difficult to convey is the unified nature of the overall plan. From economic quote-unquote reform to, quote, free market shock therapy austerity, unquote, to the implementation of smart grid AI takeover, to the biochemical dysgenics operations, the Atlantis plans are unified, strategic, and full spectrum. They cover the entire domain of human experience as well as the entire biosphere. The transition to smart cities is the ultimate goal of the Green Agenda 21 plan, as the Below UK think tank forum for the future propaganda video demonstrates. Continue reading the article at Jay's Analysis website at jaysanalysis.com. There's a link there to go there. Okay, folks, I've said it before. I'll say it again. Anybody who is well aware of this stuff before and steps aside and thinks it's so overwhelming that they're going to hide their eyes and say, well, it's not what you think. Oh, no, you either jump in the water and go in headlong and swim and get into this and whatever. Bad analogy, I know, but go for it. If you've gone down that rabbit hole and you stopped for a moment to try to climb back out, it's too late. So to those people who have been skull-plugged to thinking that it's nothing but a conspiracy theory and blah-de-blah-de-blah, and to all my Christian friends, I'm going to tell you this. Shut your big damn pie hole and lock and load and strap yourself in. It's going to be a bumpy ride. I can tell you that right now. From the stuff that I've seen in the last 25 years, you got absolutely no reason to back out now. There's only one thing that you need to understand. And I don't mean to sound arrogant or conceited when I say this. This is a general statement to vindicate and to identify those folks in the alternative and independent media. We're right, you're wrong. Got it? So there you go. I don't know what else to say, folks. I really don't. I can sit here and give you lists and lists and lists and lists of people behind the scenes manipulating you, skull plugging you, putting you in deadly situations throughout their policies, government laws, this, that, and the other thing. I can give you list upon list upon list. But guess what? You wouldn't know anything. You wouldn't know anything. Because through the process of finding this out, you learn what is happening. For me, just to drop the answers in your lap, you won't know a damn thing. It'll be so overwhelming that you'll sit there and say, well, I don't want to see it. I don't want to know it. I don't even understand this. Well, okay. Do some intellectually reverse engineering and figure it out. Follow the money, connect the dots. There you go. I really want people to understand that what you think is not happening, yeah, it's happening. The United States of America is a full-blown police state, identified in various publications on foreign press, period. Go look it up. The stuff that you see in America right now, in the United States specifically, America is the North American continent, which is Canada, Mexico, and the United States. So specifically, the United States is done under this president. And I doubt very seriously, and I could be wrong about this because I don't know everything, I doubt very seriously he's going to be leaving in 2017. All right? I don't know this for a fact, but everything that I'm seeing lines up to that, to the fact that he may not leave in 2017. Articles of impeachment, the third phase of articles of impeachment have been implemented in Congress or put through, or not through, but put into Congress. And guess what? He's not going to be impeached. I can tell you that right now. I don't care what Trey Gowdy says. He's not going to be impeached. I don't care what Senator Sessions says. He's not going to be impeached. There's no way. Because the people that actually run Washington, D.C., the people in the Bilderberg Group and other corporations that run Washington, D.C. of the United States of America Incorporated, will not let that happen. Okay? So it's going to take the act of people, you and I, and the Provost Marshal of the United States of America to walk in that White House and arrest his ass and put his ass in prison. That's what it's going to take. It's not going to take talk. It's not going to take this. It's not going to take that policy. It's not going to take Congress. It's not going to take anybody else, but a mass of millions of people to going to Washington, D.C., surrounding that whole city and say, you are not going to get out until you resign, period. And when you resign, we will arrest your ass for a violation of the constitutional rights of the people of the United States of America, period. I can tell you right now, nobody has the balls to do that. Nobody. So if you're on your way to Washington, D.C., and you happen to live in California or Nevada, pick me up. Let's go. Because I'm tired of this crap. I'm tired of people who were once very much aware of what was behind the curtain and what was going on, and then they shut it because they're so overwhelmed by it they don't want to know the truth. Well, guess what? Tough. Put your big boy pants on and stop crying in the corner like a little frickin' girl. Suck it up, Cupcake. That's just the way it is. Yeah, I'm a little angry right now, but let me calm down. Let me calm down just for a moment. You can go to the website at AmericanLibertyRadio.com. AmericanLibertyRadio.com. Yes, that's the website. You can also email me at AmericanLibertyRadio@USA.com. That's AmericanLibertyRadio@USA.com. And let me know what you think. You can go to American Liberty Radio Network on Facebook. Tell me what you think. Put it there, right there. There it is. All right? Just pop it in there. I want to know. In the meantime, folks, remember this. Liberty is the road, and freedom is the goal.